Have you wondered, can I map with my Air2S? Well, the short answer is hell yes. The longer answer is, well, it depends on what you're mapping and how accurate you need to be. I'll show you how I use my Air2S to create stunning orthomosaics, digital elevation models, and even 3D models. Hey, welcome back everyone. It's Joe from Ghost 1917. So again, the answer to the question, can I map with my Air2S, is hell yes. You can definitely use the DJI Air2S for mapping purposes. While it's primarily marketed as a consumer drone, its high-end resolution camera with its 1-inch sensor and advanced flight features make it suitable for basic mapping tasks. With the right software and techniques, you can capture images and create maps for various purposes such as surveying, agriculture, construction, and more. Keep in mind that for professional-grade mapping projects requiring centimeter-level accuracy, you may need specialized equipment or software. But for most applications, the Air2S can certainly get the job done. Now, first, what are the limitations of the Air2S when it comes to mapping? Really, there are only two major limitations. First, the Air2S has a digital shutter as opposed to a mechanical shutter, which higher-end drones such as the Mavic 3E have. This means in order to get clean images while mapping, the Air2S needs to travel at a slower horizontal speed to minimize shutter blur. Slower speeds mean longer flight times. So basically, the Air2S is limited to smaller mapping jobs. As an example, this 75-acre site, flown at an altitude of 250 feet, will take approximately 40 minutes to fly at 10 miles per hour, which is the optimal speed I found that you need to fly to get good images and a GSD of approximately 0.85 inches per pixel. And this is with 2 battery swaps. So this is probably as big as I would go with the Air2S. For those of you who don't know what GSD is, it stands for ground surface distance and is the measure of distance between the centers of 2 adjacent pixels measured on the ground. The lower the GSD, the better the final resolution will be. The second drawback is the Air2S doesn't have RTK. So if you need centimeter level precision, you will need to use ground control points. Ground control points, or GCPs, are high contrast markers, which are placed on the ground throughout the mapping area. These GCPs are then geolocated using high accuracy GNS RTK receivers, and then the GCPs are loaded into the mapping program along with your images you captured with your Air2S, and the photos are then geo-corrected using the GCPs. A drone that is RTK capable doesn't need to use GCPs, although many operators still use them. I am definitely oversimplifying this whole process, but for the purpose of this video, it's sufficient to say that an RTK drone makes the job a lot easier and a lot quicker. Now let's get to what the Air2S can do. There are 3 things you'll need to use your Air2S to start mapping. First, you'll need a controller that you can install third-party apps on, because the Air2S isn't capable of running waypoint missions outside of hyperlapse mode without the use of a third-party app. I use the RC Pro, but you can also use the N1 if you don't want to spend the dough on the RC Pro. Second, you'll need a mapping mission app. There are several available, but not all are compatible with the Air2S, so find one that is and try it out. I tried several and ended up going with Dronelink. It's a great app and I find it to be very user-friendly. They don't offer a free trial version, but the hobby plan, which you'll need to do mapping, is a one-time fee of $59.99, as long as you're only using it as a hobbyist. If you're going to use it to fly commercial missions, you'll have to move up to one of their professional subscription plans, which start at $24 a month. The final piece of the puzzle is mapping software, which you'll use to create all of the wonderful models with all the data you've collected. Again, there are many available, and these are not drone specific. So, again, find one you like. I use WebODM. It's not the easiest program to use, but it does what I needed to do, and as long as you're a little computer savvy, the program is free. If not, you can purchase the installer. The Windows version goes for $64 and the Mac version goes for $99. These are one-time fees. I'll place links in the description below to both Dronelink and WebODM if you're interested in giving them a try. I primarily use this whole setup to do construction site monitoring, which includes ortho maps, elevation models, 3D models, stockpile measuring, and site progression videos and stills. My workflow is pretty straightforward. I start by running a map mission, which is used to create the orthomosaic maps. A map mission is simply a series of photos taken over a predetermined course. This is followed by a site nadir video, which is a fancy way for saying straight down or 90 degrees to the ground. Just like the map mission, only I'm shooting video instead of stills. Next is the orbit mission, which is a video taken while flying in orbit around the site. The fourth mission is a facade video, and this is only done after construction has begun because you're basically shooting video while flying a flight path that is parallel to the sides of the building. The fifth and final mission is what I call the square photo mission. It's similar to the facade mission in that it flies roughly the same flight path, but instead of video, you're taking pics. Now, all but the mapping mission can be flown manually, but that would defeat the purpose of what we're trying to accomplish, which is monitoring construction progression. If you tried this manually, you would never be able to run the exact same flight path each time. By using the autonomous flight app, you can go back into the site time after time and fly the exact same missions, which will allow you to show the progression using comparison videos and photos. After flying the missions, the next step is processing all the data you've collected. Oh, I forgot to mention the obvious, that you will also need software to edit both your photos and videos, but most of you are likely already using something to process all of your footage. So just use what you're already using, as any editing software will work. The first thing I do is download all of my media to an external hard drive, which is where it is temporarily stored and edited. I use a Zyke drive NVMe enclosure with a 2 terabyte Samsung NVMe inside to do all my editing. And when I'm done, I move all the media to another external HDD for long-term storage. The next step is uploading the photos taken during the mapping mission to WebODM to create the orthomosaic and surface models. I do this first because it takes some time to process, and while it's processing, I can begin my next task, which is editing the video. I do this in DaVinci Resolve, but you can use whichever program you're comfortable with. I don't edit any of the photos from the square photo mission, as these are shot in auto mode, and so no color correction is needed. The only photo editing I do is to create before and after images, and occasionally a site plan overlay, which I do in Affinity Photo. Once the orthomosaic is completed, I export it along with a surface model and a 3D model. This is also when I create any stockpile measurements if requested by the client. I have compared the stockpile measurements generated by WebODM against known quantities, and they appear to be relatively accurate. Now that all of my processing is completed, I upload all of the media to a Google Drive shared folder for my clients to access. The only thing I can't share through Google Drive is the 3D model. I share this using a web-based instance of WebODM and give my clients access. All in all, I feel the end product the Air2S provides is exactly what my construction clients are looking for. As larger projects come in, I will likely be looking for an enterprise solution, but for these small to mid-level jobs, the Air2S is more than capable. As always, I'd love to hear from you. Let me know in the comments section below if you use your Air2S to do mapping, or if you'd like to see a more in-depth video of the mapping software or the mission planner I use. And while you're down there, make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons and hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on future videos. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.